it's the gender of the founder really a key factor in raising.
Is it a key factor? So ideally, it won't be a key factor, but
that's
I mean,
what we are making it
look like. So we are looking at funding stories or funding numbers from Q1 2023, and if you've been paying attention, you probably know that funding in Africa has slowed down. And this morning, I have with me Yinka Awosanya. He's the lead Techpoint Intelligence, and we are going to be looking at some of the numbers behind funding in Africa. So, Yinka,
Hi.
Welcome. First is how much has startups in Africa, how much have they raised in Q1 2023?
They did 830 million.
830 million. Okay. What are the most interesting things for you from that?
Well, there are a couple of them. So you have that in January, we did about 70. Then February to 675. And then it dropped to 84 in March.
Okay. So what explains that jump in February?
Okay, it was like a couple of big deals that happened that month. I think that's one of the reasons why that. But then on a larger scale, compared to what Africa Startup did in Q1 2022,
it was lower.
It was way lower.
Okay, so something that is interesting to me is that yes, funding has dropped across board.
Yeah.
But some countries look like they are feeling the pinch the most. And Nigeria, where we live, is probably the one that has it's felt it the most. So Egypt is first, South Africa is second. Seychelles, surprisingly, is third.
So I think one of the reasons why Seychelles is always there is most crypto companies,
the business.
Just register. The next thing is just have your HQ in Seychelles.
Okay.
Might have to do with the
regulatory environment.
Regulatory environment in Seychelles, say tax and stuff like that. But most fintech and crypto is just register and just
go to Seychelles. Okay, so maybe it's important to point out that the big raise Yinka was talking about that happened in February was also in Egypt. That's MNT Haaland's $400 million fundraise. So yes, that skews the numbers. But even if you take it out, Nigeria still raised less money.
Nigeria is 44.
Yeah. But I took out the 400.
Yeah.
And it's still more. I think Egypt did 450. So even if you take it out, that's
still larger than that of Nigeria.
Yeah. So South Africa is second, 205 million. And Seychelles is, so of the big four, well, 3 of them are still there, the so-called big four.
Yeah. Three of them are still there. Kenya is number 5.
Yeah.
But then when you look at 2021 figure, 2022 figures, the big four actually
they were always there.
The table. So we have Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and then Egypt.
Okay. So maybe if this is some consolation, Nigeria is still leading in terms of deal count.
Oh yes, well, we had 18 of the total deal is this last quarter is 85.
Okay,
and then yes, Nigeria actually led with 18, followed by Kenya with 16.
Okay,
and then Egypt, South Africa 13.
Okay, and as usual, fintech is still
of course. So fintech is getting like say let me see that 70%.
Okay. So when I was looking at the data, something was very interesting. There have been about 6 acquisitions or thereabouts. 2 of them have been in the gaming industry. I don't know what to make of that.
Gaming in Africa, I honestly I don't know. I honestly don't know because that space it's a little bit and most of people that are doing gaming as back then it's mostly targeted at the younger generations and people that are in teen school and they are mostly education related. But it's just like a little bit tricky when you feel like, okay, yes, this gaming company is acquiring this gaming company, and then you think that these people hardly raise, and then
how are you getting the money? So I don't know. Could it be that they are probably So the two gaming companies are in Egypt. Okay, no, one is in Egypt. The Egyptian startup, that's GB Arena, acquired Galactech, and then Carifest is a Nigerian startup. They acquired Gebeta. So could it be that they are maybe serving? Because I mean, one of the things that make you earn in gaming industry is if people are paying like in-game purchases. So it's either one of two things: either Nigerians are spending money or Africans are spending money on games, or like significant money. Because the GB Arena acquisition, it's not yet clear how much it's worth, but I've seen a few reports that are putting it around $50 million, which is incidentally how much. It's actually less than how much GB Arena has raised. I think GB Arena is supposed to be worth around 45M. So how are they able to do that? But yeah, it's either either Africans are spending a lot of money on games, or these guys are serving bigger markets.
Yeah, it could also be a question of the demography they are serving. If you're serving students in primary and secondary school, if your game it's target towards them, their education and stuff like that, definitely, at least their parents are paying for it, so very larger market. So
okay,
it could be that.
So the other acquisitions have taken place in fintech and
announced that
like a potential acquisition. We still don't know whether it has gone through or not. We have to check again on that, but we are not sure it has gone through. Fair Money acquired Crowdforce, Fin, or it used to be Finclusion Group. Yeah, I think the two of them are South Africa. One is in East Africa. But yeah, Fin did that, and BlockFinex acquired Fluid Coins. So the biggest acquisition so far is InstaDeep's acquisition by BioNTech. So I guess that's I mean, if you're a Nigerian or you're an African and you're looking at something like this, it's a big deal. About $400 million or so as the cost of the acquisition. I guess considering you're seeing a lot of acquisitions, maybe investors should be more interested.
Yes, but then when you look at the number of acquisitions, and mostly the ones that they release the figures, not all acquisition in Africa is that you get to hear the figures.
Yeah.
Usually a case of, yes, the figure is above this certain amount. When Paystack was acquired, it was a case of, yes, it's over 200
million, but we don't know the exact figures.
So
maybe they don't want us to tax them, sure. But anyway, so I think there's been an acquisition in the healthcare space. Maybe Doctora was acquired by Vacare Hospital, and I was thinking about it. That's actually a smart move. So health tech is a big deal, and then So we round off with funding for gender, like on the gender front.
Yes. Okay, so I am always a little bit skeptical about playing that gender card when it comes to startups. But then it is what it is. So for Q1 2023, so startups with all male founders accounted for 82%
of the funding,
of the amount raised, compared to a mixed as both gender with 16%, and then all female. 1.8.
Okay, so I mean that's keeping a character with what we've seen in the last few years. It's usually hovering between 1%. Sometimes it tries to make it up to 3%, and then something drops.
Okay, so but then I don't know. It's the gender of the founder really a key factor in raising.
Is it a key factor? So ideally it won't be a key factor, but
that's
I mean,
what we are making it
look like. I see what you're saying. So a few people have spoken to say that people invest in someone or people that look like them. So I'm probably more likely to invest in a black person than I am to invest in a white person. And by the way, I had like the last equity merchants I wrote had an interesting view about it, and you guys can go check it out. We'll link to it in the description. But my guest said something very interesting. He said he lives in the US. And he said one of the reasons why we are probably seeing less funding to black founders is the Caucasian group and blacks don't exactly know each other. So if I don't know you, I can't invest in you. So he was advocating that if you are black, for example, and you're in the US raising money, don't just keep your circle to the white people, because one of the things we've seen, especially when we're trying to advocate for gender equality, is that people say it's not just saying more women should get into a space, that the men need to play a part. And he was saying that, yes, just black VCs alone, for example, can't move the needle much. I mean, there was a lot he said there, but he was saying that it's not just a case of you guys can raise money because you don't look like them. It's a case of I don't know you, and so I can't invest in you. So I guess, I don't know, should we...
You think that doesn't really, you can't say, yes, that's valid, but then you can't see tie that to say, okay, yes, gender. Say a pay stack. If they have a founder of their team, or they are both, the two co-founders are both female, that's a fantastic product without have affected their raising or their acquisition.
Would they have affected their raises? I mean, it's a bit difficult to say. So unfortunately, one of the reasons why I'm also skeptical about this topic is the data is too small. So if more men are starting companies, like startups, just to be clear, if more men are starting startups, then already it skews the data
definitely
in their favor. But if you have a situation where more women are starting these startups, then we can now...
You can say, okay, yes.
Yeah,
actually,
but I don't know, a counterpoint to that could be that so far, in at least in sub-Saharan Africa, women are more likely to go into entrepreneurship. Yeah. But for some reason, they are less likely to start startups. So, I mean, there's a whole lot to unpack there. We are guys, and we probably cannot understand what it's like from a female's perspective. But yes, it's important. I guess it's important that we fund more women.
Before we close, so there is another key thing that has been happening over the years in the African startup space is the volume of seed.
Yeah.
So there's always early stage. There's always that form of support. So this last quarter, so seed alone is 33 deals.
Okay, out of the 85
deals.
Okay.
And has the highest. The closest is pre-seed 21, and they are both early stage.
So 35, right? 35 plus 20.
33.
33 plus 20, 21. So yeah, I mean
over half.
So how much of those deals are Series A and above?
So Series A. Series A, we have 2 deals. Series B, 7 deals. Series C, just 1 deal.
So just 10 deals above.
Series B is just, I mean, that amount, the value for Series B
is huge.
Like take over almost.
But maybe we should not focus on the volume. Sorry, the value. Maybe we should focus on the volume. 10 series, 10 series A and above.
Yes, having seed, pre-seed, having over half of the entire thing. So definitely, there is that like a support system for say, okay, yes, you're at least something to kickstart and get off the ground. So that has always been a trend over the years, and like it doesn't look like it's slowing down. Yes, the amount is not as big as what's happening in other markets. But then say startup that is just launching and this is 200K. That's going to be definitely something that will mean a lot and really get to at least push the product to the market or stuff.
But don't you think we need more later stage deals? Because on one hand, you need investors to exit, but later stage deals also suggest that a lot more startups are like they actually get into the success stage or something like that. So don't you think we need more later stage deals?
In trying to answer that question, so let's have it this way. So the while you are still building and you are getting seed and pre-seed, that's more of like you testing
your market,
testing your product market fit or stuff like that. Getting the later stage seed, that means at that point you must have said yes.
I have a product and my market wants it.
But if your product doesn't get that doesn't fit into the market, then you are not getting
Series A or any other
or the other series. And some just get Series A, and afterwards, if you are fine and you can just be living on the revenue
you're making,
fine. And if not, I keep raising.
I mean, but if you keep on living on your revenue, your investors can't exit, which is not a good deal for them.
Oh, but it's at a point your what do you call it? Your
Investors
valuation will drive up. Paystack raised about 2 deals or thereabout, and everything was around 11 million or thereabout.
Okay.
And in fact, the last raise before the acquisition was like there was a huge gap between the acquisition.
Yeah.
And they still exit at over 200.
Okay. Well, yeah, so that's all we have for you. We would try to do a few more of this, like make it a little bit more regular, just brief conversations around funding in Africa. So keep an eye for that. So thank you. And
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Yinka.
Thank you.